Hello students, this is Sagarika Mohanty. Welcome to Business Studies classes. Today we will discuss a new topic. This is your chapter number 3 and the topic is private, public and global enterprises. Let's start our new topic. As we know that the private enterprises means which is owned and managed by the individual or the group of individual. And the types of private enterprises are your sole proprietorship business, partnership business, Hindu undivided family, joint stock company and cooperative societies. And these topics are we already discussed in our previous class. And now our new topic is public enterprises. So public enterprises are basically owned, managed and controlled by wholly or partly by the government. The government may be your state government or the central government. And the public enterprises can be categorized into three major categories. One is departmental undertaking, statutory corporation and last is your government company. Let's discuss this topic one by one in detail. First we discuss departmental undertaking. So the departmental undertaking is the oldest and the traditional form of the public enterprises. It is basically managed by the government officials as the government department. It is controlled by the concerned ministry of the department who is answerable to the government through the parliament. So here there is a government department for each undertaking and the person is responsible to answer the government through the parliament. For example is in the departmental example is your in India railway, postals, telegraph, etc. As in India the railway minister is responsible to answer the government through the parliament what is on the matter related to the railway. And this is suitable for the public utility service and strategic industries. Public utility service are like in India railway, postal, telegraph, etc. And the strategic industries are like the defense, atomic power, etc. So these are the meaning related to the departmental. First we discuss the features of departmental undertakings. The first is finance. The departmental undertaking is financed by the government and these are basically financed under the annual general budget of the parliament and also these are financed by the government treasury. Next is accounting system. The government departmental undertakings also maintain the accounts and audits of different government activities. Next is management. The departmental undertakings are managed by the government and these are the direct control over the concerned ministry. And the next is appointment of employees. The appointment of employees, their remuneration, salaries, promotions, etc. are basically decided by the government and the employees of the departmental undertakings are also treated as the government employees and these are the comes under the head of the IS, that is your Indian Administrative Service and the civil servants. The next is accountability. Accountability is the answerable related to the various departmental activities by the concerned ministry to the government through the parliament. The next is merits related to the departmental undertaking. First is there is a complete control over the government. So the departmental undertaking is a complete control over the government. The government may be the state government and the central government. Next is answerable to the parliament. There is the concerned ministry is involved and he is responsible to answer the government to the parliament. Next is source of income. The source of income of the departmental undertaking is through the government treasury or through the annual budget at the parliament. And the next is suitable for the national security. So the government department is suitable for the national security because the concerned ministry is involved. Next is demerits related to the departmental undertakings. So first is lack of flexibility. So here all the activities are done through the government. So there is lack of autonomy. Due to the lack of autonomy, we can say that there is a lack of flexibility. The next is delaying decision making. Here all the activities are approved by the government. So the decision making procedure is lengthy and more time consuming. And the next is bureaucracy and conservative approach. The departmental undertaking involves multi-layer systems. For this purpose, we can say that there is a bureaucracy and conservative approach. And the next is red tapeism. Red tapeism means there is related to the various rules, regulations and procedures. The departmental undertakings follows various rules, regulations and procedures of the government. For this purpose, we can say that there is a lack of flexibility and this is your demerit. And the next is undue of the government interference. There is a lot of political interference through the concerned ministry. And the last is indifferent to customer needs. Here the departmental undertakings not focus on the customer satisfaction. So these are the demerits of the departmental undertakings. So this is related to your features, merits and demerits of the departmental undertakings. The next category of the public enterprises is statutory corporations. So the statutory corporation is a corporate body with a separate legal existence set up under the Special Act of Parliament or the state of legislation. This is also known as public corporation and this is managed and controlled by the board of directors which is appointed by the government. Thus, it is a corporate entity having perpetual succession, that means it is for the indefinite period and has a common seal with the power to acquire the property, hold the property and dispose the property and sue and be sued by its name. And the example of the statutory corporations are RBI, that is your Reserve Bank of India, FCI, Food Corporation of India, LIC, like your life insurance companies, etc. So the statutory corporation is a corporate body which have a separate legal existence and have a perpetual successions. Now we discuss some features, merits and demerits related to the statutory corporation. The first feature is formation. So the statutory corporation is established under the Special Act of Parliament and such acts specify the object and the power and also functions of the corporation. Next is ownership. The statutory corporation is wholly owned by the state government. And the next is corporate existence. Here the statutory corporation get the legal existence, that means it can sue and be sued on its own name. Next is financial autonomy. Here the statutory corporation usually independently financed and if fund required then it can be borrowed from the government or it can sell their goods and services to the public. The next is accounting and audit procedures. As like the departmental undertakings, the statutory corporations maintain accounts and audit for their activities. And the last is staffing and term services. Here the employees are not appointed through the government, but sometimes the government employees are required or the government officers are required for the deputations as the head of the organization. Now we discuss some merits related to the statutory corporation. The first merit is operational flexibilities. The statutory corporation enjoy as the independent body. So it also free from the government undesirable rules and regulations. The next is freedom from the interference. Here there is the statutory corporation free from the government interference in their day-to-day activities. The next is autonomous setup. As it has got the legal status, the separate legal entity, so it can sue and be sued on its own name. The next is facilitates economic growth. Here the statutory also. Now we discuss some demerits related to the statutory corporation. First demerit is theoretical autonomy. Here we can say that there is more paperwork. As it is a more paperwork, we can say that there is a more theoretical work, and this is related to your demerit point. The next is government interference. In some cases, government interfered in the statutory corporation's functions for the purpose of use bond required. So there is the involvement of the government as well as the political interference. The next is undesirable practices. The statutory corporation may misuse their autonomy and indulge unfair practices like corruption. And the last is delaying action. In some cases and on some matter, the statutory corporations require approval from the government, and sometimes government disapprove their approvals. For this purpose, there is delaying taking all the actions. So this is all about the features, merits and demerits related to the statutory corporation. Now we discuss the third category of the public enterprises, and this is the government company. So the government company is a company where the government is the major shareholder and exercise the major control over its management. So the major shareholder, we can say that the government having not less than 51% of the capital of the company. So that means we can say that the government companies are companies where the government shares are not less than 51% of its capital, and the major controls are done by the government. And it is established under the Companies Act 2013 and any other previous law. And it is established for the purpose of the running the industrial and commercial undertakings. And the government company may be formed as a private limited company and also the public limited company. Thus, the shares of the government companies are purchased in the name of the President of the India. The example of the government companies are SAIL, BEL, BML, etc. SAIL is your Steel Authority of India Limited. You can write the full form of BEL and BML in the comment box. Discuss some features related to the government company. The first feature is incorporations. The government company is registered under the Companies Act 2013 or any previous law. It is also formed by the executive rather than the legislative decision. The next is separate legal entities. The government companies are also the independent bodies or independent of the government. That means here the government company can buy and sell their shares or sells any assets on its own name, and it can sue and be sued on its own name. And the next is management. The government company is basically managed by the board of directors, which are nominated by the government. The next is government by the MOA and AOA. MOA, that is your Memorandum of Association, and AOA, that is your Article of Associations, are the main document of the company. Such documents are basically related to the rules, regulations and the object powers related to the government companies. And the next is accounting and audit procedures. Here the accounts and audits are also maintained as like the government or as like the departmental undertakings, and here also the annual report is to be presented in the parliament or the state legislature by the auditor appointed by the central government. And the last is finance. At least 51% of the capital of the company is contributed by the government. The government may be your state government and the central government, while the rest can be raised from the capital market by selling their shares. So these are related to the features related to the government company. Let's discuss some merits related to the government company. First is easy formation. The government company can be established by fulfilling all the procedures relating to the Companies Act 2013. Operational autonomy. The government company enjoy the autonomy relating to the taking the decisions and the actions are is independent status. Here the government company get the separate legal existence and get the legal status. The next is prevent of unhealthy business practices. Here the government company provide the quality product to the customer at a reasonable prices and also prevent some unhealthy business practices. Next is demerits related to the government companies. So first demerit is freedom only in name. Here the government company get the freedom only in the name and we can say that there is a lack of flexibility. Next is lack of accountability. Here all the accounts are not answerable to the parliament directly because due to the inefficiency of the government control. The next is defeat in the main purpose. So here the government company defeat in the main purpose relating to the registering it under the Companies Act. So this is the related to the topic of your government companies and we discuss the features, merits and demerits. So this is all about our today's class which will cover the types of the public enterprises. Hope you guys understand this topic. Thank you for watching.